It's crunch time. Let's talk Week 23 sleepers and two-star pitchers up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Friday, September 2nd. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. And let's take a look at the schedule for next week. It's pretty spread out. We've got one team with 5 games, the Atlanta Braves, 20 teams with 6 games, 7 teams with 7 games, and 2 teams with 8 games, the Brewers and the Giants. Starter sit these fringy two-star pitchers, Scott. Martin Perez at the Astros and at home against the Blue Jays.
It feels weird to call him a fringy two-star pitcher.
It does.
He's so high in terms of how he ranks in stats this year. But he has struggled with control lately, and those are tough matchups. I think in a points league, it's no question you start him. In a categories league, still probably start him, but weigh how much ground you have to lose in ERA and WHIP before deciding to do so.
Joe Ryan at the Yankees and home against the Guardians.
Lean yes on him.
Jesus Luzardo, 2 tough matchups at the Phillies and home against the Mets.
Also lean yes on him. By the way, I like Martin Perez better than both. I mean, they're all kind of iffy with these matchups, but all 3 are lean yes.
Freddy Peralta at the Rockies and Coors Field and home against the Reds.
This one's a little harder. He has been fine in terms of production since coming off the IL, but the velocity's been down, and obviously there's Coors Field start here. I still think I lean yes, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one for me.
Jameson Taillon at home against the Twins and the Rays.
Just points leagues. And it's not even a must in points leagues, I'll emphasize.
Alex Wood at the Dodgers and at the Cubs.
Probably not doing that one.
And Marco Gonzalez at home against the White Sox and the Braves.
Not that one either.
All right, let's talk about some two-star pitchers to add for next week. Who you got?
I got nothing for you. No, I'll give you a few names, but I do want to stress, it is crunch time. The waiver wire is pretty depleted, okay? And I am tasked with finding 10 names every week for the articles that I write for CBS Sports, and then I share some of the information from that here. I'm not wild about all of these choices this week. I have to meet a quota. The quota has been met, but it's not, they're not the most advisable by and large. I do think, however, Johnny Cueto at Seattle, at Oakland, he had a nice bounce back start Thursday after one of the few rough ones he's had this year. Still an ERA below 3. I think Johnny Cueto is a pretty easy choice. Justin Steele, all right, we're already getting kind of iffy here because he left his last start with a hip issue. He'll throw a bullpen over the weekend. If it goes well, he should be back Tuesday and line up for 2 starts against the Reds and Giants. He's been good if he's healthy. Hopefully he'll be good again. Jose Quintana has not been so good recently, but his matchups are the Nationals and the Pirates. Jack Flaherty, coming back from a long stint on the IL, also gets the Nationals and Pirates. Really good matchups. I didn't want to start him because, he's hardly pitched this year, and the 3 starts he did make were all short and not good. But coming back for 2 starts with matchups that good, that's really hard to resist. And the good news is he has pitched well on his rehab assignment, had 9 strikeouts in the most recent one, more than 20 swinging strikes. So hopefully Flaherty's back to form. But yeah, that's kind of scary. And then Michael Wacha has pitched well of late. He gets the Rays and the Orioles, 2 pretty good matchups, especially since the Orioles one is in Baltimore.
Single start streamers. Do you feel better about those?
No, these are worse, with one exception. Patrick Sandoval against the Tigers. I feel really good about that one, coming off a good start against the Yankees. A good 3-start stretch with the walks being down. And the Tigers are a great matchup. I'm also okay with Ross Stripling at the Rangers. Not such a favorable matchup anymore, but he's pitched well of late. Rounding out the list here, I have Jake Odorizzi at Seattle, Jose Suarez against the Tigers, and Matt Manning at the Royals. I know. Like, why would I start Matt Manning again after his 2-star week blew up in our faces? Well, he's facing the Royals, and he's available in enough leagues that I can recommend him. I don't actually want to recommend him, but the quota has been met.
All right, the hitters, best hitter matchups, the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, and the Guardians. The worst hitter matchups, the A's, the Marlins, the Rangers, the Braves, and the Padres. Scott, 30 seconds or less. Sleeper hitters for next week.
Yeah, Lars Nootbaar is a must. Cardinals having the second best matchups. The Orioles weren't listed among those best matchups, but they're good enough that Gunnar Henderson, I think, is a must. All righties on the schedule. His teammate, Jorge Mateo, I think he's a good start as well. You mentioned the Red Sox on the list of good matchups. Tommy Pham. The Brewers with their 8 games. Garrett Mitchell, hopefully he'll play the majority of them, give you some steals. And let's also mention Joey Meneses here of the Nationals. He just continues to produce, 30-year-old rookie. Not the best matchups for that team this week, but he's so hot and so available. Joey Meneses, I'm going to recommend him.
Joey, 2 hits. So hot right now. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.